Pretend that it's 1978 and you're a Formula One fan. You just witnessed tremendous innovation to downforce with ground effect. And now you see something even more wild, borderline crazy. A fan, a large one, mounted to the rear end of a race car, in plain sight for the world to see. At first you might say, that is freaking awesome. But then, wait, what the? So what drives a team to mount a large fan to the back of their car? Well, in one word, competition, and probably a bit of jealousy. In 1977, F1 was changed with the introduction of the '78 Lotus. Prior to this time, Formula One teams chased speed with horsepower and wings. The '78 Lotus took a completely different approach. It sucked the car down from beneath it. The story of how ground effect enabled more grip and fast cornering is old news. But what's not is how one team attempted to rival this. Brabham couldn't simply copy the design of Lotus. Their Alfa Romeo flat 12 engine was simply too wide to fit the Venturi tunnels. No Venturi tunnels, no ground effect. So, Gordon Murray, Brabham's chief designer, came up with a different idea. By 1978, it became clear to Murray that Brabham had a problem. Unless they can find more downforce and find it quickly, they will be completely outpaced for the 1978 season. So out of pure desperation and outside-the-box thinking, the fan car was born. The BT46B, the first and only car to mount a large engine-driven fan on the rear of the car. This fan was 18 inches in diameter, with its stated purpose being engine cooling. But the Formula One world knew its real intention: to suck as much air as possible out from under the car. The fan created the same low-pressure effect as the Venturi tunnels, but with one huge advantage. The fan could still be effective at low speeds, whereas with Venturi tunnels, the downforce increased alongside car speed. Brabham introduced the design at the 1978 Swedish Grand Prix. The Brabham team, trying to avoid immediate protest, actually instructed their drivers, Niki Lauda and John Watson, to run heavily fuel loads that day to not reveal how effective the car actually was. As the race progressed, the performance advantage became increasingly obvious. Niki Lauda quickly overtook the leaders and won by a staggering 34 seconds, driven largely by the sheer amount of downforce the fan created. Over the course of the next few days, rival teams were planning their next move. If teams were initially skeptical of the legality before the race, by the end there was no doubt in their minds. The fan that Brabham installed had to be illegal, and before long, 5 teams put in a protest. The complaint? Brabham's fan constituted a movable aerodynamic device and was illegal under the current regulations. Mario Andretti also loudly voiced complaints that the car kicked up a tremendous amount of rock and debris, potentially endangering trailing cars. The FIA, then CSI, determined that the fan's intended purpose was legal. Special equipment was allowed to provide cooling for the engine, and just because the fan was installed in such a way that it pulled air from under the car, creating tremendous downforce, didn't make it illegal. So the ruling was made, the race win was legal, and the fan car was allowed to stay. As it is in every aspect of business and life, insider politics will always influence decisions, and this story is no different. Bernie Ecclestone, Brahman's owner, was in the midst of growing his influence and career in the business unit of Formula One. He held a leadership role within Formula One as the head of its Constructors Association. Not wishing to alienate the paddock and to not jeopardize the success of his new appointment, he voluntarily withdrew the car from competition. Whether it was not to jeopardize his political influence, the loud blowback from his fellow FOCA members, or if he simply didn't want to deal with the ensuing drama and potential legal battles, we'll never know. But what we do know is the BT46B is the only Formula One car to win every race it ever entered. So if I'm being honest, I wish this had caught on and been improved over the last 50 years, but it didn't, and it wasn't. The following year, the FIA stepped in and quickly clarified the regulation. Teams can no longer use engine-powered devices to generate downforce. And with that, it was over. The fan car was retired to a garage, only to be thought of during museum visits or demonstrations. Thank you all for watching. This story I found incredible, mainly at the amazement of the ability of Formula One engineers to think outside the box. Even today, the innovation is endless. Who would have thought of putting a monster fan behind the car, not to push it forward, but to pull it down? Well, Gordon Murray did, and he changed Formula One forever.